Hello everyone, my name is Kuan again. I am studying in Istanbul Technical University Department of AI and Data Engineering. My project title is How the Sharing Economy is Redefining Traditional Business Landscapes in Europe. Problem definition. The sharing economy is growing rapidly, challenging traditional industries like accommodation by offering cost-effective and technology-driven alternatives. This project investigates how these disruptions manifest across different regions in Europe, quantifying their effects and identifying critical trends. Let's move on to datasets. I have used two datasets from Eurostat database. First is guest nights spent on short stay accommodations offered via collaborative economy platforms like Airbnb. And then BD size, its business demography by size, it's focused on accommodation sectors. And I have used five datasets from inside Airbnb. It's listings.csv files for five major cities in Europe, which are Amsterdam, Berlin, Madrid, Paris, and Rome. Here you can see these datasets. So, first one is occupancy of short stay accommodations via collaborative economic platforms. Here you can see its columns. Most important one is geographic location, and for each year it has yearly data columns representing guest nights. Second one is business demography by size class, and here you can see the same columns, and the important one is geotime, geographic location, and the same for each year it has values of representing business metrics. The third one is datasets from Airbnb. They have all the same columns, and I have chosen the most useful columns I have used. It's neighborhood cleansed, room type, price, availability, number of reviews, and host since its date. Okay, how did I merge the datasets? Mainly, first I have merged them with geographical alignment. I mapped Airbnb listings to corresponding country codes. It didn't have cities, so I had to do with countries like Netherlands, Germany, Spain, France, Italy. Then I also used temporal alignment to synchronize Airbnb listing years with Eurostat annual data. It's by years. So also I did data cleaning. The formats of Eurostat and Airbnb inside Airbnb data was very different, so it was hard to uh, make them consistent. And I have used handling missing values, standardizing formats, and ensured consistency across datasets. Here you can see basic exploratory data analysis. This one is from Airbnb data. It's room type distribution by city. It has different room types for these five cities. Here you can see number of guests in collaborative economy accommodations over time. That's from Eurostat data. Here, important trend is that it declines at 2022, and we can see the same trend in Airbnb data. That's growth in Airbnb listings over time. Its number of usage of Airbnb it skyrockets at 2015, but it then starts to decline, reaching its about maximum at 2020. And as we can see, they show the same trend. So, my research questions. The first research question is, how does the decline of Airbnb occupancy correlate with the growth in traditional hotel occupancy in Europe? And my initial hypothesis was that a decrease in Airbnb listings is associated with an increase in the number of traditional hotel enterprises in Europe. And I have done an analysis on this. Here, the Airbnb data, as you can see, as I said before, also it reached its peak at 2015, but started to decline, then reach its minimum at 2020. I think I did the research, and it's because of regulatory practices. But most interesting thing is here. Here is the analysis from Eurostat data. It's performance of hotels accommodations over time, and here you can see starting from 2020 and 2021 it rises drastically. It means that with the decline of Airbnb, the performance of hotels accommodations increased, which confirms our initial hypothesis. So next research question is what is the distribution of room types offered by Airbnb across different European cities? My hypothesis was the distribution of room types, entire room, private room, shared room, etc., varies significantly across European cities. And here you can see on my analysis that for all cities it was similar. They all had the big entire home apartment room types from Airbnb, and the second one was private rooms. And as for hotel rooms and shared rooms, there was very little amount, which means it was the same trend for all cities, which contradicts to this hypothesis. And our research question 3 is how have Airbnb listing prices evolved over time in major European cities? My hypothesis was that average Airbnb listing price have increased over time in major European cities due to rising demand and inflation. However, in my analysis, as time passed, the average price for accommodation was not really consistent. It has changed a lot, but it has risen and fallen, so it was not stable, and but it has not risen also. So it contradicts the hypothesis, and this same trend, same for all cities. So my last research question is about what is the projected growth of Airbnb listings in these 5 cities over the next 3 years, and how might this change impact traditional hotel businesses in these cities. And my initial hypothesis was that the model will predict a stabilization in the number of Airbnb listings across these cities over the next 3 years. But uh, when we see my model, it's not really stable. It's stable for only 2 cities, but not for other 3. And here I have used a predictive model to predict the future trend. As you can see, that's starting from 2025. It's a prediction, and that's a historic data before 2025 and after 2025. I have used exponential smoothing model, which predicts the future number of listings. Exponential smoothing is a technique that predicts future values by applying exponentially decreasing weights to past observations, and more recent data points have a higher influence on the forecast than older data points. So that's my main models I have used to predict future data. So how can this product can be used? I think this product may be mostly used for smart accommodation impact dashboard, or it can be a web application too. It can be interactive real-time dashboard designed for stakeholders such as city planners, hotel industry professionals, etc. And it will provide comprehensive insights into the dynamics between Airbnb listings and the traditional accommodation businesses. Here I have listed features like real-time data integration, predictive analytics, and investor guidance. So let's move on to data engineering and the ethical issues. First is that data integration and the consistency, merging datasets from different sources with varying formats and the structures will be really challenging because they have really different formats, and using them together, merging, would take some time. Second is scalability and the performance. When we use a large amount of cities and we analyze a large amount of data from Airbnb and Eurostat, there will be problems with scalability. So it should be solved with efficient data processing and incremental updates, etc. The third problem is real-time data updates. Since my program is about real-time data predictions, it requires real-time data for best predictions, but ensuring that would be challenging. So that's why it should be used automated ETL pipelines and API integration. When it comes to ethical issues, first one is of course data privacy and security. When it comes to Airbnb, we should ensure that personal identifiers are removed or must, because in Airbnb shares information about hosts and guests. Also, we should adhere to GDPR and other data protection regulations. And when it comes to Eurostat data, it's relatively easier and it's open source, and it's enough just to credit Eurostat as a source. Second problem may arise when it comes to ethical use of predictive analytics, because misuse of forecasting tools leading to unintentional consequences in market regulations is a real problem, and here we should consider different ethical guidelines and assess consequences. So, conclusions. We have successfully analyzed the impact of Airbnb on traditional accommodation businesses in 5 major European cities, and have developed and applied time series predictive model exponential smoothing for Airbnb listings growth over the next 3 years, and we have also conducted very detailed exploratory data analysis with key visualizations highlighting trends in pricing, room types, and market condition. And lastly, we proposed a smart accommodation impact dashboard to monitor and manage the sharing economy's effects on traditional businesses. And that's all for today. Thank you for attention.